Hello everybody, next update for the Dartmoor exhibition. I wanted to make a post which responds to the comments that came in on the first two, which were amazingly positive, thank you very much, and I just loved the energy that everybody wanted to get onto the solution. They wanted to know what's being done about it. So I want to explain why the image and the form of ponies are so central to this exhibition. So what I did this week was I went out to meet Charlotte Faulkner, who is the chair of the Dartmoor Hill Pony Association, to look at a site where she manages the grazing on behalf of the landowner, and she uses ponies to do that. And I asked her to give me a bit of a tour and tell me what's happened over the 7 years that she's been managing that grazing. I'm a bit frustrated because I wanted to go out and look at other sites who are trying to do it different ways, all within a spit's distance of the pottery. So the piece of land that Charlotte is managing the grazing for is 2 miles away. There's other things that I'd like to show you which are literally in the field next door, but the weather has stopped me because it looks like this. So I'm going to give you the first half of why ponies are so central to this exhibition.
Everything's cold.
So come on then, who are you?
Who am I? I am Charlotte Faulkner, and I am chair of the charity Friends of the Dartmoor Hill Pony and founder, and I am also chair of the Dartmoor Hill Pony Association.
So what was this like before it was starting to be grazed by ponies?
You're about waist high in Molinia, very difficult to get across, and it hadn't been grazed for 7 years. So what the ponies are managing to do is they're making spaces again in between Molinia, so that's an old clump there, but now it's got grass around it. So that's quite cool, really. And then they work their way across. Another patch of grassy stuff in amongst the Molinia. And then if you come this way, you've got poo as well.
And what's so good about poo?
Poo has beetles and bugs, and everyone lives off poo. Poo is incredibly valuable. So people can walk up the paths because it's clear, because the ponies go up and down it, they use it as much, and they're widening it. If you look at either side of this path, the ponies are chewing away. And that's almost a farbering now, so that's pretty good, I reckon.
So how many ponies do you have on here?
We have up to 15. Seasonal grazing. We shovel no more on the summer. Once this starts to grow away, then we've got to put more here. Because this has taken since 2019. To start with, we weren't allowed to outwinter. Then the ponies got an infection which couldn't come back to the farm, so I had to get a derogation for them to stay up here for the winter, and we immediately noticed the most massive difference. Outwintering them made the difference to the Molinia. You actually really started to see a difference. What we're doing here is we're giving them an extra bit of food because we want to actually make them work a bit harder now. So what we're doing is getting them to go into areas a bit off the path and a bit further out and start to make new paths in to break up the Molinia. On a pony path, which is taking you to where they go to shelter or where they come to go and get water. So all the time there's different ways they're using the land which is helping the Molinia. And here they obviously work really hard up here in must have been an area. It's like, oh, maybe it's sunbathing zone. So therefore, this really worked well. It's really fantastic. Look, you've now got just the lumps. And if they start sunbathing some more, they'll squash those away. Oh, gone. This is quite a new hideaway for them. These, they do a lot of pooing here, and a lot of breaking up of the Molinia lumps and eating it. And this will start to become a garden, what we call gardens.
And this is because they're sheltering behind the gorse to keep out of the weather.
Yeah, so it's actually a benefit to have this big clump of gorse they're sheltering out of, because it's actually creating an area where we get lots of different plants going. I'm standing on one.
I'm standing on one. So that was
That would have been a big clump.
a big clump. Some people call them baby heads.
It's got something else growing out of it. Not being an expert on this, somebody can probably tell us.
Oh, look.
But that's starting to happen, and you see that's the other thing that starts to happen is you start to get your heather appearing.
Wow.
So you've got your heathers. That heather is now being allowed to escape from underneath the Molinia, and so that hopefully will get going now. We're going to have an opportunity. Oh, it has. It's starting. Now that is only because it's only recently been cleared. I mean, what you've got to recognise is this heather has managed to escape from underneath and get some light. So it's actually starting to make a real effort to be green again.
So,
The amount of regrowth of different other things here.
and that's because they've overwintered for 3 years.
They've overwintered on this ground for, this will be their third winter. And so they've been coming to this place for 3 winters. And so therefore that's why we've got this massive change in what's here. From what was here originally. What you've got here
Yep.
is your gorse, which they've had a really good go at. And that was probably because it had been burnt previously, so it had some dead branches and things. But they've been right in here and made sure it's all opened up, so you've got some foxgloves going on. You know, it's going, it's all happening, it's starting to pink, next spring is here. So those guys over there have worked very, very hard to create the most amazing improvement in the biodiversity on this site. And it's here, they're here. They're doing the job. When is somebody going to actually notice what is happening and how it can work? And that they're a fabulous management tool that costs nothing. You know, they don't ask for anything except to be able to stand here and remain here. That's not a lot to ask, really. They've been here, we know, for at least 4,000 years. We think that possibly they've been here for millennia. They've been here, well, a bone was found at Kent's Cavern that was 50,000 years old. And that was just on the edge of Dartmoor. So, really,
Yeah.
I think they belong. And I think they're one of the answers to what we're struggling with this modern climate change and all the things that are going on. We've just got to give them the opportunity to be here.
So there's just one thing I would like to add at the end of this video. Thank you for your patience. It's a bit longer than most of the posts have been, but I think it was all worth saying. Listening to Natural England, I often hear that the problem of Molinia has many factors. One might be climate change. Not disagreeing with that. One might be that we have air pollution and we have nitrogen falling from far away intensive farming and aeroplanes, which will be affecting the way that Molinia grows, might actually fertilise it. Okay. they talk about how wet the ground might be. Wetter ground, apparently, will discourage Molinia. The two sites that we've looked at in the last update and this one are a minimal distance apart. The dense Molinia that we saw at the last update, which hadn't been grazed for a number of years, and the site that we've just seen with Charlotte. Those two sites are subject to all the same factors. There's only one thing that's been changed, and that is the amount of grazing. And particularly in this case, pony grazing. So this is why, for this exhibition, I want to use the form of ponies, because they are a management tool to be able to combat this invasive plant, which has been here for millennia, which is recognised by DEFRA as having rare genetics, and they're classed as endangered because their number is now so low. And yet, DEFRA policy threatens them. So it's a case of making people aware that we have the answer outside our window to tackle the Molinia problem that we have on Dartmoor, and we are seeing the impact of their numbers being crashed from 6,000 to 1,000 in a very few number of years, and we're paying the price. So the point of the exhibition is to, in this case, make a glaze from the Molinia grass and to put it on the pony form. And in my next update, I hope to start showing you how we're going to do that.